And now let's welcome your host of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour, Louise Hicks. This is a special Father's Day edition with special guest, chef, owner, and author Marcus Flakes.
We are live today on Facebook, and we are celebrating this special Father's Day event. And believe me, you will not want to miss this. This is going to be an amazing show today. And I'm your host, Louise Hicks of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour, with my special guest host, my son, Kenan Wesley Mason, and our special guest of this most inspiring book, The Aspiring Chef, a Memoir, Mr. Marcus Flakes, the chef, founder, and author. Welcome, Marcus. We're so happy to have you here today. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. He has been on a journey unlike any other author, I believe, that I've read. And I've read lots of books. And he's one of the best authors that I have read, who has really put his life in perspective and has come out triumphant. So with that said, I'm just so excited. Now, Marcus is from Texas. I'm from Louisiana, where his parents are from. So we're right next door to each other. That's what makes us so great, right, Marcus? And I'm just excited. Where are you? I don't see you anymore. Let's see what happened. Marcus, what happened?
Okay, I am back. We just had a little technical difficulty between phones and mobile spots and all of that stuff.
Believe me, this technology can sometimes wear us out. But I was telling our viewing audience, and Ken, if you could kind of watch the chat for me, assist me with that, I will appreciate it. Ken is of Kennetic-Fit and Wellness. So we're just going to just jump in here and talk about taste buds, food. And if you're like me, you love to eat. And I love to eat tasty, beautiful food. And that's what our chef has done over the years. So we're going to have him to tell us about this quote. In reading his book, and I read this book from cover to cover. I didn't miss a word. And when I finished the book, I wanted to read more because it inspired me. And here I am with these youngsters, as I call them, and that's why I tell you, like my mother always said, and I know Marcus is going to share a lot with us about his parents as well, but you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to learn or be inspired. And this book inspired me. And Marcus has several quotes in the book, and one that I really loved, and I'm going to have him to tell us about this quote, because he also talks throughout the book about how, and I know this is a Louisiana expression as well, how when our grandparents would cook and we would say, wow, and I affectionately call my grandmother Mama Girl, and I said, Mama Girl, you put in this food. And that's one of the expressions of people from Louisiana. And we know that his parents, one of his parents, his mother, I believe, if I'm telling the story right, is from Louisiana, and the father's side is from Texas. And Marcus was born in Houston, Texas. And that is a saying we used to say all the time, because when food is good and it looks good, you just want to get started on it. And I love that saying, you put your foot in the food, because that's what he does. And this quote here was one of the most inspiring to me. And it said, you may have been denied, but make it your business to not be deprived. So Marcus, what inspired you to write that quote? Because I love it. It's so impactful and powerful.
Absolutely. Well, when I wrote this quote, I was really thinking about the number of times that I have been denied. All the times that I have tried to do different things where it required some type of approval or somebody's decision, to move to the next level in my career or just anything I might, encounter. But the drive in me says, you know what, I've been told no enough, and I'm tired, and so I'm not going to give up. So therefore, you would not deprive me of what God has for me. And so I'm going to continue to work really, really hard at achieving what I want, because it's a numbers game. You're going to get told no more often than yes. And so if you quit before you actually reach the yes, then shame on you. So, but not quitting, you will eventually see some yeses, and they're progressive to even more blessings as you continue to not be denied.
So true. And I mean, we can take a lesson from that, because sometimes people quit. And when you quit, that just prior to you quitting, that next comment would have been a yes, perhaps. So you're so right about that. And I don't believe in quitting, because that's saying quitters never win and winners never quit. That's
That's
what you
right.
did. I love it. And you talk so much in the book when I started reading, and I love this, about your 5-star personalities work, this model, work ethics. Tell us about those models and just kind of go through them, and because it's a great lesson to be learned in those models. And we know it's Father's Day weekend coming up, and we're doing this as a pre-Father's Day special event, a special show. So, I mean, fatherhood is so important to all of us, because we know each parent plays such a major role in our lives and can give us what we need to continue to carry on with our lives. So when I read
Yes.
those 5-star personalities, I said, wow, this is a great father. And as you share those with us, tell us how you, I guess, interjected those in your path along the way of becoming a father as well.
Okay. Well, I pretty much came up with my own leadership model. It's a little deep in terms of, the 5-star personality, because really I feel like everyone that's trying to become the best version of themselves, they have to start with some personal development. And some of that starts with the mindset. Okay, so when you start digging into the mindset and how you think and how you respond to people and things like that, I came up with a few of these words that define how you should be able to deal with conflict, and what makes you as a person from the outside looking in. And so we talk about trust. We talk about dealing with conflict, because I believe that everybody deals with a lot of conflict in their day. All throughout their life, we're dealing with conflict everywhere. Okay. And it's no fault of your own, but you do have to know how to respond to the conflict, or you become more of a problem with the conflict. Okay. Then we talk about the commitment, your level of commitment to doing what you truly desire. A lot of times we have big goals and big dreams, but we're not willing to commit ourselves to get to the next level. And then accountability, holding yourself fully accountable to do what you said you were going to do. So there's no sense in making goals, writing business plans. It doesn't matter what you do. If you don't hold yourself fully accountable, then it's just not going to happen. So it's a lot of wasted energy and time. Then we talk about results. Okay, so and how to achieve those results is in your plan and in your action plan. Okay, and it's progressive. A lot of times we think we can get immediate results, that immediate gratification, and a lot of youngsters out there, they're looking for a lot of immediate gratification. And guess what? I'm not saying that it's just youngsters, because guess what? All of us were youngsters. Okay, so it's not just today's youngsters, it's youngsters from the past. And I was one of those people. I seeked immediate gratification. I felt like if I did this because somebody else had extreme success, maybe I can have success too. But you know what? It's not your calling. It's not your calling, So you have to dig deep, and you have to be connected with God spiritually in order to know what your gift is. You might have a talent, but guess what? Talent will only take you so far. You have to develop it into a skill. Okay, and then as far as the 5-star personality, there's some traits that I embraced, and I embraced this on and off the job, whether I was on the job or whether I was working within Marco's Pepper Grill, and it's this: trust, respect, commitment, accountability, and results. Okay. But the biggest two are this. It starts with this: trust and respect. Because I think that everybody wants to be trusted. And I believe that everybody wants to be respected. And so if those two traits if those two traits are done repeatedly, then you can start looking at the commitment. You can start looking at the accountability, and then you can start looking for some results. But it really starts with the whole trust and respect. Um, and in terms of correlating this into fatherhood and things like that, it's really about the coaching and development of your children. Okay, you can choose to not share the information that you know, and then let them go out and learn their way. But we know where that all gets. We know what their end game is to them not having the knowledge to be able to make good decisions and things like that. And then we look at ways that we can make our children avoid what we don't want them to go through. And a lot of that deals with trust and respect. We think because we're the parents that automatically they should respect us. Automatically, they should trust us. I'm your dad. You should trust me. You should respect what I'm telling you. But if your actions don't measure up, they're watching you. They're watching you, and so they become people of themselves. They develop into a whole human being, and they have a right to feel and think the way they want to think. So our job is to raise them from little kids into having good belief systems, and then showing them from a leadership standpoint, showing them, hey, this is how it's done. Don't tell your child to go to college if you haven't gone to college. Now, I'm not saying that to say that you shouldn't tell your children to go to college because you didn't go. Everybody has their own fight, right? But theoretically, you really can't do a whole lot of advising in their lives because today's children, they're looking at, well, what have you done? How are you going to teach me to be a millionaire if you're not a millionaire or never have been a millionaire? So that's what the whole 5-star personality is about. It can be used in many forms, shapes, and fashions, to have a check and balance on your life and what you should be doing. And then you can start coaching and advising others on how they need to instill that in their lives.
Excellent advice. And I love those 5 stars. And I love how you explain that so eloquently, the trust, the conflict, the commitment, the accountability, the results, and how respect plays a major role in everything we do. And I loved how you talked about what we always got from the old school where we came from, setting a proper example for your children as a father, particularly boys, because we know now more than ever, our young Black boys need us. They need their fathers. And that is so important and vital, what you said. And how you have written so much in the book on your journey. So Ken, did you want to chime in and say anything about that, you being a father as well of a daughter? Marcus is a father of a son, and is it two daughters or one daughter, Marcus?
So it's actually two daughters and two sons.
Oh, okay. Two
Yeah, my
daughters and
boys are
two
the
sons.
youngest. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got you. Two boys. And I know I had spoken with one of your daughters, and I can tell that she has been given, and that proper example has been set for her and
Absolutely.
Angela. And I was so pleased to speak with her. So, Ken, did you have anything you wanted to share with us on that, being a father as well?
Well, just real quick, I mean, you mentioned accountability. I did an entire video on just that subject on my YouTube channel. Accountability is probably at the top of the list of traits to have when you're going into entrepreneurship. You have to hold yourself accountable because all eyes are going to be on you, and people are going to be turning to you for the answers when they have questions. So holding yourself accountable is definitely important. And since this is about food and things of this nature, we do live in a microwave society where we want everything now, and we want instant gratification versus delayed gratification. We don't want to take the necessary steps to create the results, like you said, going through the certain conflicts so you can learn resolve. I mean, all these things are in place for a reason. So you can be better at your business endeavor, or you can use all of these traits in your parenthood endeavors because your children are going to be looking to you. They're going to be looking to you. They're going to hold you accountable for everything that you do. They're going to hold you accountable. And children are very perceptive of the things that you do. They're watching you. They're watching everything that we do. And so we do have to make the commitment to hold ourselves accountable so we can be trustworthy of our children, or our children can raise their trust level with us. And so I like the five. What do you the 5-star personality?
5-star personality. Yeah.
They're perfect because trust, respect, learning how to deal with conflict, keeping your commitments, and holding yourself accountable. All of that will render results. When you hold them dear to you and apply them. So I love the 5-star personality traits because I think they can be used in all avenues of life.
Absolutely. And
Thank you, Kenny.
that's what when I was reading them, I said, wow, that is really right on target, because trust. So you guys better write these down. This is a lesson for our children, particularly now in this day and age, because we're living in some very challenging times here.
Yes.
And I tell you, it's troubling. So trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, and results, because you want to see good results. You don't want to see a chaotic life for your children. That's why it's so vital that fathers are in the lives of their children, teaching them how to navigate themselves through these challenges in life, because it's tough out here. I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's tough. And as I continued to read the book, I said, wow, this is just, it's amazing how your journey has taken you so many places and put life in such a proper perspective, and how you took that leadership role. But we know that we don't do this alone. We have to establish relationships, and you talk about how you were able to adjust to these various personalities, and that all has to do with relationships. And in a food industry, from me reading your book, I learned so much about the food industry that I did not know, and how food is laid out. It's an art, actually. And you're right, it is an art. And I never really thought of it that way. So when you talk about those collaborative relationships and the different personalities, how did you relate that to you being an entrepreneur in the food industry and also within fatherhood? Because like you said prior, it all comes together as us being human beings, really.
Absolutely. So the food industry, the food industry. I'm just going to be honest with you. The food industry is a beast.
Yeah.
Because you a lot of people have a perception of what it really is when you enter the kitchen. You People believe that it's just about cooking and making food look good, and or it's about working really really hard and not getting paid, for what you're worth. It's just a bunch of hard work and sweat and doing things for several hours you don't really want to do. I could be out here partying and doing whatever I want to do, not in this hot kitchen. Okay. It has its rewards. Um, and some of the hardest things that you can do is get a person that doesn't know anything about a kitchen, okay, and put them in there and coach, train, and develop them into what you need them to be in order for the business to be successful. Um, and I found that you will go through several people before you actually find those capable ones. Okay. I'm not a fan of just hiring people, to fill the gap and hey, I got this many employees, and guess what? If it takes you 15 employees to get the job done, then you might want to look deeper into what you have going on, because actually it takes less. The less people, the harder they work. The more people, the less they work, which means that's affecting your productivity. Okay. So you have no productivity, your labor is out the roof. And as an entrepreneur, that is destroying your bottom line. It's destroying your bottom line. And so, what I would advise to entrepreneurs from a leadership perspective, especially in the beginning phases of your business, is to have some sweat equity, okay, for yourself. Okay, you created this brand. Nobody really cares about the brand as much as you care about it. So why aren't you there?
Right.
Why aren't you there? And so you need to be there. You need to be the face of the business to from the startup phase, and you need to be interacting with your customers. You need to be developing these relationships with the community. You need to be right there before the food even enters the plate. Okay, you need to be there, right when it's being prepared, prepped. You need to be there for every step of the way, and this is how you get 5 stars.
Right.
Marco's Pepper Grill. Look it up. Nothing less than 4.9. Okay. I have done this for 2.5 straight years. I have done this for 2 consecutive years prior to that in a completely different state. It's been tried and it's been tested. Okay. Not to say that it's all about the food. Okay, because one person cannot really know how to do something, whereas the person over here knows how to get it done. But guess what? If you have good customer service and you care about what's leaving your establishment, you're going to end up with 5 stars.
Mhm.
Okay, because we're going to eat what we eat. Not everything is the greatest, but not everything is bad either. So when we have food, if it's quality ingredients, premium ingredients, you can tell that somebody went out of the way to make sure they got hot food, hot, cold food, cold. You're happy. You're happy. It's just a different kind of experience. If you eat Caribbean food today and you go over here eat Chinese food over here, doesn't mean that one was better than the other. That's not what it means. It just means that, you know what? Customers grade you on quality and customer service. Those are the two things that people will go and talk about. excellent customer service. Oh, he was very, very friendly. He was energetic. And so these are the things that we need to be teaching to our employees.
Yeah, because the
And
food comes secondary after
that's right.
after that. The food is secondary. It's always about the customer service first and foremost, because the first impression, that's what it's going to be. The first impression, that's what they're always going to remember, because
That's right.
they're going to get all of that before the food comes to the table. It's going to be about the customer service first.
That's
As soon
right.
as you walk through the door.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you walk through the door.
There is.
You had
Because if
a
you're
you had
sitting,
a
okay.
you had your first restaurant in Oregon.
Yes,
So you had your kind of trial and error moment there.
I sure did. I
Talk
sure
about that.
did. So that was very interesting because it was my first venture. I had a wild hair and I quit my cushy federal job. People thought I was going crazy, having a little crisis in my life. It's like, why do you want to open up a restaurant? You got this nice job and everything, but you know what? I was being called to do it.
Yeah.
And so when I did it, I did it without fear. Okay, I stepped right into, and to open up this restaurant. And but one thing I was very sure about was that the food is going to be good.
Yeah.
I was sure about that the food was going to be good. But I wasn't sure if people had a health conscious about it, or I just didn't know what to expect from the average consumer in those lands, in that part of the country, right?
Mhm.
So but once people started coming in and having this experience, it was very different than any experience that they had in Oregon. And so people started talking just like they're talking today, and they started sharing. The word of mouth is so strong, and you can literally
Yes.
build an empire on the word of
Word of
mouth.
mouth.
I'm
Yes.
telling you,
Yes.
so
When you have a quality product, word of mouth can go a long way.
a long way. But let me add this. My restaurant was not that busy after our grand opening. Once I had the grand opening, the grand opening is always a glimpse into what it could be on a continuous basis.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like everybody's there, and and it's like, whoa, man, this is gonna happen all the time. I am so happy I did this. But then reality kicks in, okay,
Uh-huh.
and and things are not really, going the way that you expected it to go. But that comes with time,
Yeah.
because you have to build. Everybody that was at the grand opening can't possibly support your restaurant goals over a long
Yeah.
period.
That's
You
right.
know,
They can't
so
go there every day.
they can't go there every day, right?
Right.
So just building on that. And one of the things that I did that was kind of unique was that I got so tired of sitting in the restaurant, eating my own food and drinking my own drinks, and looking out the window and watching these cars pass by. It's like, why aren't they stopping? Do they not see the sign?
Right.
So I would run outside and I would look at the sign myself and say, well, I don't understand. Well, maybe this tree is blocking my sign. All these analytics,
Right.
where I was located, I just couldn't understand why the people weren't coming in. So you know what I did? I made a
Tell us,
billboard.
because it was awesome what you did.
Yeah,
Tell
I
us.
made a billboard, got creative. Me and my employees, got creative, and we were holding billboards up out there and waving them, and one by one, we'll get one to turn in. Okay. And so I'll be like, okay, I'm going in while he's still waving the billboard, and the customer comes in. I race to the front and say, welcome to Marco's Pepper Grill. We're glad you're here. So but each and every customer that entered, I had to make sure that they were more than satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted their business back, and if I wanted that word of mouth to start traveling, I had to make sure that they were more than satisfied.
Yeah, they
Okay.
call that going the extra mile.
Going the extra mile, So that experience exploded.
It did.
Exploded. Yeah,
It did,
it
as I
really
was
did.
reading it. What you
Yeah.
did was remarkable. And aside of what you said about results, because when you said in the book you were standing, you literally stood out there yourself waving the sign. And when your first customer came in, I think you said it was a couple, and how you treated those people. I mean, that's what creates that journey that you were on that made you so successful with that restaurant. And it's all about leadership. From your perspective, tell us a little bit more about the Oregon restaurant and your experience and what actually is leadership, because some young people need to know about this.
Well, leadership to me, there's different styles of leadership, by the way. And I use more of a transformational leadership. Look that up, transformational leadership. And so I have to continuously adapt to other people. And I try to teach them to adapt to what I'm doing in my restaurant. Don't adapt to my personality, adapt to what we need to accomplish. Okay, there's going to be some tasks that I need you to do, and it's going to kind of be outside of what you're comfortable in doing, and so I need you to adapt to that. Okay. Leadership is leading by example. It truly is. And I've heard a lot of leadership models out there. One that's my favorite is to be no do. Be that entrepreneur. Do what it takes to succeed as that entrepreneur, and then do. So be, and then and then just do it. If you are that person and you know what needs to be done, what's left for you to just do it? Just do it. Yeah. A lot of times we get stuck at uh well, I am an entrepreneur and I know how to do this, but the results are not there. The results are not there. You're not happy. And there's where the quitting starts, because you didn't have the endurance to last, because there's a whole lot of hard work, in the doing to get the results. It could take years. So I tell people, if you're not ready to dive in and be a leader, first of all, be a leader of yourself. Be a leader of yourself. If you can't properly lead yourself, then there's no way you're going to lead other people. And that means doing things right, doing it right. So, and doing it right can look like arriving to work on time.
Mhm.
I have this expectation of this employee, but are you doing it?
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Um, uh, I have this expectation of this employee to clean this and prep this, but are you doing it? I have this expectation of this employee to to know how to do it because I identified that skill set in his or her resume. So just do it. You're still wrong, because you need to training and leadership is about coaching, showing, and telling. It really is, and we learn that way when we're coming up as children. And so really it shouldn't change. I'm going to show you how to clean this wall. Wax on, wax off. Right? And so waxing on, wax off, you know how to wax on, wax off, because I've shown you, and I've put you into practice to doing that. And so that's the simplicity of leadership. And we sometimes we drop the ball. You want to add to that leadership?
Well, I've seen
Well, my thought, oh, go ahead, Ken. I
I've
was going
seen
to
on
say
I've seen this
real
it was a
quickly,
show that
and
used
I
to.
go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I have a point I wanted to go back to that Marcus had said, but go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah, there was just a show called Undercover Boss where they
Yeah.
used to
Yes.
come in, and some of the CEOs, they had no earthly clue on some of the inner workings of their own businesses, because they came in not from the roots of where it started, but they came in as the business was already established. And when they go in, they have no earthly clue how to clean the walls or clean the stove or clean this and clean that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is good that you or any entrepreneur takes that role of leadership of doing all the little nuances, nooks and crannies of all the intricate workings of the business. You have to know how to do all of those so you can pass that knowledge on to the manager, the person that's going to be doing the inventory, the person that's going to be doing the financial books. You have to know all of that.
That's right.
You have to know all that. And so again, these are all leadership qualities that are so important when starting your business. And it sounds like, Marco's Pepper Grill. I like that. I like that.
And
I like that.
I do too. I can't wait to eat some of that food. When I go down to Houston, I'm looking forward to it. But leadership is so important, and both you and Ken have really given a lot of inspiring words about that, and how you had spoken of leadership in the home, because it really starts in the home. And you talk in the book about bullying, and we know that's something that's prevalent today too, because you were bullied as a child and you had great parents. So that's an important part of a child's life growing up, especially a child that's being bullied. And you had great grandparents. And I when I read that part, those were very heartfelt things to me, because I was raised up in Louisiana, where I was born in Shreveport, and I had great parents, grandparents as well. Even though I was a product of divorce, I still had great leadership from our church, our school, and because back then it was quite different. And tell us about your parents growing up, your childhood, and the bullying, because sometimes bullying as a child can really stop you from achieving your goals and your dreams. So let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So I was a very sheltered child. Okay. My mother and father, they were split up, but they had the same teachings. They had the same beliefs. Okay. So whenever I went to my mom and had a question about something, she would answer. And then I would go to my dad and ask the same question. And it would always be the same. This is like, well, I can't go to you and get a different answer, than mama, you know. So they always said, get an education. Okay. Um, be the best you can be. Whatever you do it well. Have some energy and some charisma about yourself. So I grew up hearing these things, and I also grew up them telling me that I was a born leader, born to lead. I was told this. Okay. Now, whether it was true or not, it was believable. Mm-hmm. In my mind, you see what I mean? Because they instilled this in me. So, when you compare this to other children who don't get this, they believe to be somebody that other people have told them they're not going to be. You see what I mean? You're not going to be this. And so they have nothing to hold on to, that they can do something. They can be this person. They can't end up on TV and doing whatever it is they want to do, even if it's driving a dump truck. That's what my mother used to tell me. If you are a garbage man, you better be the best garbage man that ever lived. Right?
Yes.
And so that's the traditions that I came from. And my grandmother, she was very blunt about what she wanted from you. And if you didn't, she was very blunt about what she was going to do to you if you didn't get it done.
Consequences, right? Consequences.
Right. And so somewhere along the way, we as parents, as Generation X parents, we've lost our way. And primarily because of economical reasons, life I believe life hit us a lot harder than any other generation because there was significant change in society. Okay, and we had to adapt to that. The technology had just begun, and all these jobs out here, and all these requirements to get these jobs, and we knew that we had to go to college and get as many degrees as we needed to be successful, so that we can take care of our children. But in taking care of our children, we were thinking about that monetarily. We weren't thinking about that from a mental and emotional standpoint, right? And so we got disconnected. It seems like grandmothers had more time to coach you and to give you more whippings, if you needed it. They had time to do that. Well, my parents, they had time, but it just seems like now, Generation X, we almost don't have time to show our children nothing. We almost don't have time to to give them history about their culture and heritage and all of that, and this led to the result of Black history not even being celebrated on the same level that it used to be celebrated. That's something to think about. That's something to think about. I could post something else about some big speaker or whatever, and I'll get all these likes about them. But let me post something about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Marcus Garvey, and the list goes on. They don't understand it. They don't understand it for some reason. So in terms of how I was raised, that's how I was raised. I had a belief system, and I held on to that. This is my most cherished memories with my grandmother and my grandfather and my mom and my dad. And still to this day, I have meaningful conversations with my mother about life. About life and how we can help her grandchildren, my children, master life, because life is just getting harder and harder, and it's really not about an education anymore. It's really about you being tactful in your mental toughness, being able to deal with reject, being able to deal with conflict, and using that same negative energy and turning it into positive energy. And then the light starts to shine, because the positive energy that you transform from negative to positive is the authentic you.
That's so true. And being a Gen X, like you said, Ken is a Gen X, my son. So I guess you guys are probably in the same age category. And you're right about what you're saying about Gen X. Is like, I'm a baby boomer born in 1951. And
Mm-hmm.
we, like, probably like your mother, I'm pretty much, I guess she might be a baby boomer too. And we were raised with different values. From what I see today, how some of these children are being raised or not being raised, because some of them are not being raised. And as you stated, and I know Ken can speak to this too, him being a Gen X, these generations, things did change. Technology
Yeah.
started coming along in the 80s and 70s, because I was in computer science and I went to college and have a degree in social work. And having seen the evolution of technology over the years, even though I got into that and that was my career, because like you talked about those cushiony jobs in the
Mm-hmm.
government. I mean, I had a government job too. And it's a lot of time people will tell you, you better not quit that good government job.
That's
Even
right.
in the government now, there is no stability in any job right now. As you well know, it's a changing society. So thank you for sharing all of that about the cohesiveness, because that's what we had more of. And I know your father, I believe you said, is no longer with us, correct? And
Correct. Mm-hmm.
but you learned so much from your father, because you shared about your parents, your father, grandmother. who put her foot in that food and inspired you about food and was a no nonsense person. And
That's
back
right.
then, we all had loving parents, but they were no nonsense parents. They
That's right.
wanted you to be excellent and they taught you, they wanted you to have values and morals. And we've gotten so far away from that. And I know my kids were raised like that too. And some of the stories they'd say, Mom, my friends let us, because my daughter especially, she came from a generation of parents that were much younger than me, even though I had her at a later age. So, Ken, you can talk about that too, because it's tough being a parent and being a single parent, a single Black mother, female, raising boys is tough. So, I want both of you to kind of give us some insight on that aspect of what your thoughts are, because it's tough. I raised my sons. I have two sons and a daughter, and a lot of along the way, I was a single mother, and we can't teach our sons what a father can teach them and too in terms of fatherhood. So, Ken, go ahead. Can
Well, I
you hear
mean,
me?
I remember we did a show about developing mental fitness, and um, society's always going to be changing. The thing is that I think that it would be suggested that we develop being more flexible as society changes, so we don't really have to fall prey to how society changes. We can adapt to it and use whatever changes come about, use it to our advantage. Um, I love being a parent. It can be trying at times, but I look at it all as a positive because it just makes me look forward to being a better father. So, um, so I think that developing that type of mental fitness, the uh, so the so it will be a little easier during the process of being a parent. So it won't have to feel that it's so uh, tough, for lack of another term. Um, it doesn't have to be that way. You can make it a little easier um, by, again, the relationship that you develop with your children. Again, going back to the 5-star personality traits.
Yep.
Yep.
Being able to resolve conflict with your children, because it is going to come about. It's inevitable that it's coming, whether you're ready for it or not. But at the same time, you have to make the commitment to be able to listen to your children and give them that respect, at least to listen to their feelings, their opinions, and whether you believe it's right or wrong, at least give them the respect to listen. Because you never know, as parents, we might learn something. Because I remember you said
And
earlier
we
about
do.
how as parents, we always believe that we're always right about everything. And children can't teach us anything because they're children. Well, I differ with that, because as children, we can all have a teaching moment with our children and learn something from them. So again, we can be better parents, or in this case, better fathers. And then fathers will be respected more in general society. So I think all of it matters.
Yes, so true. Because I know I've learned a lot from all three of my children, and particularly from a more of a fitness and health caring from Ken. even though we grew up in the era of being a baby boomer where we raised most of our food ourselves. So when they started talking about holistic food and all of this, we grew up eating our own food. We didn't call it holistic food. We just called it homegrown food because that's what we ate, homegrown food. We ate that all the time as kids. And it seems like kids were healthier back then than they are now because kids have a lot of challenges, childhood diabetes, obesity, and you didn't see all of that when we were growing up. It just wasn't there because we had a lot of outside time. We made up toys and we created games and stuff that we played. So we had a lot of activity, and you don't see a lot of that now. And I know it's just such a challenge, like you said, being a parent. But we learn and we have to listen to our children. And a lot of parents don't even take the time, like you said, now they don't have time for these kids. And guess what? If you don't have time for your kids, guess where they may end up? As you know, they keep building more prisons, more juvenile camps, and all of that. So it's so vital that we take the time out to really spend some time with our children, some quality time,
Or if
and
you
teach
don't,
them.
they will go and look for that quality time elsewhere with people that may take them down a road of self-destruction. Because if you don't give them that attention in the home, boy or girl, they're going to look for it elsewhere, because all children need that that companionship, the togetherness, the embracing, the hugs, the kisses. They want all of that. And if we don't give that to them readily and frequently as parents, they will go look for it somewhere else.
That's true.
And they need that. And Marcus, you talked about in the book, I mean, you just persevered because your journey, you had a lot of challenges. You were homeless, I think a couple of times. And your story is just such an inspiration. And anybody that reads this book, and I tell you, you need to get it and read it, because this book, no matter whether you're in the food industry or whatever industry you're in, if you want to quit, the journey that Marcus went through, you will want to persevere. You will not want to quit because he never quit. And you talked about how you were working, you had to leave your family, you went to the military, you even, and thank you for your service too, because you
Thank
served
you.
us. And a lot of times the military guys come home, particularly Black men and women, and you are not even given an opportunity here in our country. And you did take advantage and you went to school under adverse circumstances, homeless and everything. So share, we're not going to give the book away because we want people to read it, but share a little bit with us on what you did and how you persevered, because other people need to know that you don't have to give up. You got your bachelor's degree, you got your master's degree. So tell us a little bit about that and how you persevered and what kept you going.
Okay. So so those experiences are kind of two-dimensional. I did not go to school while I was running my restaurant. So just want to get that out there. But when I got my bachelor's degree is when I opened up my restaurant. Okay. So having a restaurant and being homeless at the same time actually happened. Okay. Wasn't in school or anything like that. Um the challenge, how I persevered, was really, I'm going to be honest with you because I need to be completely transparent. How I persevered, because I could have failed. I could have given up. There was a number of things I could have done. In fact, my mother called me and said, "Do you want to come home?" Okay. I'm the only child. Call me spoiled if you want. But guess, but guess what? I told her no. I do not want to come home. And I created this and I'm going to finish it. She thought that that was admirable, that I was willing to go through what I had to go through as a young Black man at the time. I think I was in my late 30s, going on 40 or something like that. But this trial and this tribulation had to happen for me to cross over. Wait for it. To cross over to the other side of the gate where God met me at right there. He met me there.
That's
I can say that I can tell you I've been to a lot of churches. I can't say that I can't say that I've read the whole Bible. Okay. But I can say that I have tried, and I never could take the words and apply them to my life. Okay. I heard how to do it, but I didn't really do it in the beginning, knowing that I was equipped with this knowledge. But the certain amount of pain did it. So I'm telling everybody, the pain, the pain is what's going to take you to the next level if you know how to use it. Now, I don't know how many people are taking their painful experiences, if they're quitting or if they're drinking or if they're doing drugs. There's several ways to release that pain. We all know that, okay? But I turned to God. I wasn't in a position to be smoking and drinking. I was a business owner, so I was looking for a way out of this situation, and the only place I could turn is to Him. And I asked Him for forgiveness. I repented for some of the things that some of the things I did that I think I didn't do. I repent for that as well. Okay, I just need to be released so that I can know what you want me to do and what you have for me. And when that happened, I'm telling you, the whole thing changed. I've never seen so many good things happen to a person at one time, consecutively, over and over and over. I said, wow, I have arrived. I, I have arrived. I said, wow, this is a story. This is a story, and it was a great experience. But when my restaurant closed, four other restaurants closed. Okay. And it was not due to anything associated with what I did or the taste of the food or anything. It was just a climate change in the state of Oregon, the state of California. They experienced a lot of fires and things like that. So white smoke plagued the area, caused the epidemic out there, and I went a whole summer with literally no business.
Mm.
So I'm telling you that I was homeless and I had my blessing. Then I closed my restaurant because of no business. There's some pros and there's some cons. There's some good and there's some bad. You have to be able to take all of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to be able to take all of that.
All of
Put
it. That's
all
right.
of it,
All of
So
it, the good and the bad.
that's right. I didn't get mad at God because He showed me something great and then all of a sudden He took it from me. That's not how I looked at that.
Right.
I said, wow, He showed me something, but failure is bound to happen in business anyway. It might not mean you're going to lose your whole business, but you're going to fail at something associated with that business.
true.
Okay. Well, I just so happened to lose the business, but I didn't lose myself. So I went to culinary school. I'm educated. Okay. I ran my restaurant. I had this experience. I got all these reviews to show that Marco's Pepper Grill is a viable product. Okay. Then when I closed, I had to figure out what I was going to do next. I went to school. I got myself back into the National Guard. I went to school and I got me a job as a food service director. That was easy to do with my background. Um, and just did that. I swallowed the fact that the restaurant was gone. It was gone. Okay. I had to get back home. Getting back home to my family, to my kids, you know. This journey, that part of the journey was over. It is time to come home. And so I saved my money and I got myself back home. Well, guess what? More trials and tribulations awaited me as I came home. All I wanted to do was get this restaurant back started. Meeting these foul people who make foul promises about what they can do to help you as an investor and all of this. And I believe that phony stuff. Why did I believe it? Not because I'm not intelligent or anything like that. I believed it because I was desperate. Because I believed in my own concept enough to where I would give you countless amount of money if it made sense. And really what I needed was for somebody to look at what I was in front of to say, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I don't like. Don't tell me what not to do if you don't have a better solution.
Right.
Because it feels like
Okay.
you're taking from me as in terms of the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So replace this opportunity with another opportunity, and then we can talk. But don't just tell me not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And several kids today will agree with that because they don't want to be told, well, don't do that. Don't do that. Well, this is what's in front of me. We're not living their lives.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? We're not living their lives. Some kids feel like they don't have any other option than that one opportunity. Now they feel that, or they can associate it with God brought this opportunity to me. I'm gonna take advantage of this, and then all of a sudden you stroll in there and say that's not a good opportunity. Don't do that. Y'all want to shed some light on that? Because these are the things that are real.
Yes. Go ahead, Ken. You want to talk? Because it is real in opportunities. Sometimes we do get desperate. And when you get desperate, sometimes we can uh make wrong decisions. However, it's not that you don't have knowledge and so forth, but you see something and you reconcile with yourself that this is a great opportunity. And then you come and find out later, like you talked about the investor in the book. And I guess that's what you were alluding to. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
How we can be deceived. So we have to look at things, I guess, cautiously, uh, and not out of desperation, as you said.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
We have to think about things when the going gets tough. And what did you do before you went to God? And God opened up those doors for you. Even though you were homeless and this and that had happened in Oregon, you ended up back home. You had some doors open because you had the faith. And that means a lot. Faith and belief. You had a good background in a belief, a strong belief system. That makes a difference.
And
So,
one other thing I want to
uh-huh.
say is that the perseverance. So that I talked about entrepreneurship. So now I'm gonna go right into academics. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Academically, I had never really been the type of student that would be called an A and B student. Okay. In high school, I sucked. Okay. I just couldn't get it together. Okay. But when I went for my master's, actually in culinary school, I was an A student because I loved what I was doing.
That's right.
Okay.
Passion,
Loved what I was
that
doing.
passion.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's right. And a lot of things happen. Look, academically, you should not go to school. And I don't know who's listening, but academically, you should not go to school to get a job.
Mm.
You should go to school because you have a burning desire to learn what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't be looking at, well, I could probably make money off of this because that's not a plan. You need to educate yourself about some of the topics that are being discussed. I couldn't understand how pictorial art related and architecture related to culinary arts.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't relate to that. I didn't understand why I was taking that class. But I said, you know what? It doesn't matter why I don't. It doesn't matter that I understand or not understand. What I need to do is I need to get into this course and I need to really read. But as I read more, studied more, did more projects, this stuff came to me in a different light. And I started running my brand centered around the things that I had learned in terms of color, okay, in terms of architecture, Okay, all that stuff blended in. So whatever it is you feel like is not going to help you, it will help you. Let it manifest itself into your plan, and it will come about. Now, the perseverance in my master's degree, that was one of the most difficult things that I had to do. All those papers. My master's is in public health. So all of those papers, I was going to school with doctors, and I felt like I needed to be better than them. I need to be
Mhm.
better.
Mm-hmm.
My mother taught me better than this. I am going to write the discussion posts. I am going to write these 35-page reports, comparison and analysis and all of that. And you know what? I'm going to write it as if somebody paid me to do this. Right? So when I did it, A's, 100s, A's, 100s. I finished my master's with a 3.7. Okay? 3.78 to be exact. And
Mhm.
that made me feel good. And I will always go to my mother and say, this is making me feel some kind of way. Like I feel like I love education. Like I want more of this, you know. Every project I would get mad if somebody dinged me for a couple of points on an assignment. I want to know why. It's just like
I
credit.
know the feeling on that
I
one.
want to know why my score went down 2 points, right? So it never happens again.
Mhm.
So I start to develop a point system mindset. Earn more points because this is what it's about to get more out of life.
Mhm.
When we credit is based that way, um, school is based that way, business is based that way as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
based that way. So I look at everything from a point system, and I'm saying this because the perseverance has to be channeled to focus on something else other than
Mhm.
other than you not liking this, or I don't understand this, I don't get this, I have to work, I don't have time. That's an excuse. Not having time is an excuse, because the sacrifice has to go deeper than just getting up at 9 o'clock in the morning and getting off at 5 and trying to get in that bed at 8 o'clock. That's not how it works. You got to stay up late. You got to wake up early. That's the time you have if you want to achieve. Everything is done in the dark. All those things have to be done in the dark. When nobody think it can be done, you're doing it in the dark. And then when the results come, people want to know, how did you do it?
Yeah.
That's how I did it. I
Yeah.
stayed up late and I woke up early, and I had a relentless uh uh mindset of, you will not tell me no. You will
Mhm.
not tell me that I gotta be on this paper when I spent 8 hours total time writing it.
It's an A
I
to
hear
you,
you,
huh?
Marcus.
That's right.
I used to do the same thing when I was in college. I mean, I had gone to a segregated school, being a baby boomer born at a time when it was worse than it is now, in some senses, but it was better than it was now in a lot of other senses for us. Going to a segregated school, I thank God for that, those lessons, because we had caring teachers. They would go to your home, and you persevered. And I talk about my 3 C's when I do speaking engagements, which is courage, commitment, and confidence.
Mm.
And those things were instilled in you. And I remember tell my kids this too. Ken can tell you, they grew up with me saying a lot of sayings from what my parents and grandparents would tell us. And one thing they always said is, take the word can't out of your vocabulary. We don't want you walking around and say, you can't do that, you can't do that. Now we know there are people, like you had mentioned earlier, about your talents, and you can have those talents. However, you can have the knowledge, but you got to develop a skill set. And that's very important, because everybody has different talents and we have knowledge, but you have to make sure that you have the skill set that goes with whatever those God-given gifts and talents that you have. And you had such a passion for food and the way you would present the food. And you tell a story in the book that I had to laugh about, those artichokes.
Oh yeah.
How you said it, both those artichokes, and you realize how you had made a mistake. Now, just tell us how did that teach you? That was a teachable moment, of course, because you had to really go out and buy the right artichokes. So mistakes can harm us. So tell us a little bit how we can, I know we can't avoid mistakes, but how we can, I guess, mitigate the mistakes and make less of them by using what we have up here, our brain.
Absolutely. Well, it starts with attention to detail. Okay. Um, I was not paying attention to detail, obviously, because I ordered artichokes fresh instead of in the can. All right. Had it came in the can, I don't know if I would have had all of that going on inside of me in terms of I'm not a chef and shame on me. I should have known how to do this, and I need to go to culinary school. This is crazy. I can't call myself a successful chef wearing the jacket and everything with the name on there. Chef Flakes, and I didn't feel like I earned that from that experience. Okay, and so who knows what would have happened if I never made that mistake? I probably wouldn't have gone to culinary school. So some of these mistakes we learn from, just through experience. And again, how you respond to those experiences. Are they learning curves for you, or is it complete humiliation? It wasn't that humiliating to go through that, but it definitely ignited some fire underneath me to ensure that that never happened again.
That was a good learning, and we do learn from our mistakes, and we're going to make them. I mean, hey, I'm 71 and I make mistakes, and some have cost me, and you have to move on, though. You can't let it stop you. Like you said, that caused you to say, well, I better go to culinary school. I didn't pay
That's
attention to
right.
details here. So it is important. Ken, you want to elaborate on that or anything? We're going a little over. I hope you have a few more
You're
minutes.
fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, this is an interesting conversation here
Yeah, it
we
is.
are having, and it's a good learning experience. I've learned a lot from Gen Zs, Gen X's, and
Gen
Gen
X's.
Z.
Yeah.
But Gen X's, when you have what you guys have, you're on fire, and I appreciate that. And I'm so proud to see Black men like you guys out here teaching, having these teachable moments for these younger generations and us older generations, because we're learning as well from you guys. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't know how much time we have left, but I know you have a master's degree in public health. So maybe next time or later down the road, I want to go into that aspect of it. I think more people need to know about more general public health matters as it relates to food, and also how we as parents can be the teachers of how to make sure that our children grow up to be as healthy as they possibly can. I mean, um, again, we live in a society of junk food and candy and potato chips and things of
Hmm.
this nature, the things that we all love, which is okay. I mean, children should be allowed to be children to that degree, as long as it doesn't, as long as there is some sort of balance of healthy food, fruits, vegetables, things of this nature. As parents, we do need to have a better dialogue when it comes to the food and their diet, because we do see that childhood obesity and childhood diabetes are
Hmm.
growing by the numbers.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
if a lot of, and there are a lot of factors that have to do with that. I won't get into all of them here.
Yeah.
But as parents, it is up to us to, again, here we go back to the 5 traits. Um, Going back to holding ourselves accountable when it comes to um, setting the example, not just say, do as I say, not as I do. You have to set the example, so the child doesn't fall victim to these type of illnesses that are so prevalent in children. In children, diabetes, childhood diabetes, type 2. I've seen so many children over the years. They're 3 and 4 years old, and they're giant babies. Because of their diet, the dietary lifestyle that's allowed in the home.
Yeah.
And so we as parents have to be, cautious and, set certain limitations and boundaries. So this type of epidemic here in America doesn't escalate more than it already has.
Right.
So next go round, I would love to go into those aspects of it, because I'm in the health and wellness field. I'm passionate about the food that's being presented. We do need to eat more foods of color, and because that's so vital on so many levels. And it's imperative that we do know some basics about food and how it can serve us more than it has crippled us, because food products have crippled us.
That's right.
In so many ways, from diabetes to hell, even cancer or dementia, Alzheimer's, you name it. All of it typically has, or one aspect of its development is the type of food that we eat.
That's right.
And it does create a public health crisis.
That's right.
It does.
One way or the other.
One way or the other. Yeah, it creates a health crisis. So those are the type of things that I would like to discuss as it relates to parenthood and children, and just in general society, and how it relates to us as a culture, because culturally it's affecting us. I think Black and brown people are more affected, and Native American people are affected by their poor food choices. We're affected the most.
Yes,
We're affected the most.
I agree.
I agree with that. Public health, our health is so important, because we have, so many of us have high blood pressure, diabetes. We on some of us have a medicine cabinet full of medicine. Fortunately for me, I've been blessed. I don't have any medicines in my cabinet because I'm not on any, and I'm 71. I don't have, and I thank God every day for that. So it's just important. But we were taught as children, and we didn't eat like we eat today. We have all these fast foods. Everybody's in a hurry to run out and get this fast food, and that's what I know you talk about. Your food, you make it as healthy as possible. And I know Chef D, who's going to be having her grand opening in Houston with her Build a Pizza, and we had her on the show. And she's your fiance, of course. And you guys, it's so funny how you guys both are chefs, and you met each other, and here you are chefs, which is great, because you can, and you have so much knowledge, and I guess you guys consult with each other, and that's awesome, because you can share so much with each other. And I just love that part about you guys. And let me ask you this, Marcus. We're gonna be wrapping it up. Hopefully, you got about 10 more minutes, and
we
should be done. But what inspired you? Oh, good. Okay, what inspired you to write the book? This book that's so amazing, and I would urge everybody to go out and get the book and read it.
So I've always wanted to. Actually, the title of this book was thought about in 2011. And I went from 2011 all the way to 2019, where nothing was written. I even started to try to write a chapter. And I said to myself, this is ridiculous. I got all these thoughts that need to come out. And the reason I wrote the book is because I had been through so much. And every time I try to share my story, I can't share it because it's too much. It's so much. It's too many events. I've done too much for anybody to sit here for more than 5 to 10 minutes, to hear. It's just the way it is. When information is being put out, some information can't be spoken. It needs to be read. And so I
Yes.
felt like this is the perfect way to also get rid of my demons, to where I can put everything that I had issues with, all of my trust issues, all of my trials and tribulations that are considered some of my darkest moments. I was able to table that so that I can move forward. I had a lot of regret and resentment, in some of the decisions that I had made to leave. Although some of the leaving didn't have anything to do with me um, directly because it was military related. So I had to go. Okay, but I also had an opportunity to come home sooner, and I didn't because I didn't want to come back home. Number one, uneducated. Number two, didn't fulfill any goals. So the question would have been, well, what were you doing? You know what I mean? What were you doing? It's like, because being in the military, it can cause you to look at things like time has froze. You could be in the military and then come back to civilian life and literally nothing has changed. So something has to change, and that had to be me. It had to be me, because nothing else was going to change. People were going to have the same expectations, and whether that was positive or negative toward me, I'm in control of that. And this book, it kind of writ all of that, and I'm able to close the book and I'm able to open the book. That gives me control of my life.
Mhm.
And I tell my
Yes.
children all the time, if you want to find out something about your father from a deep, like, because children just don't have the time. They don't even want to. They don't even want to establish the time to listen to what you have to say. So I wrote it, hoping that one day they'll open it, and when they're more mature, they'll find out about their father and what I went through. you know um and it's not something that I can tell them. They're all in the book. Somewhere along the way they're in the book, but I'm not going to tell them where to go. You need to read the whole book.
Yes.
The whole
Sounds
book.
I
like it
agree.
was. It
You
sounds like
have
the
to
book.
read the whole book.
It sounds like the book was therapy for you, or it
it
became
it was.
therapeutic.
Yeah, it was. And the thing about it is, it's funny that you say that, is because and this is rare. Cooking is therapeutic
Yes, it is.
for me. Um, cooking can be therapeutic for a lot of people in different ways. You might imagine yourself with a towel over your shoulder with some jazz on and a glass of wine, and you're cooking slow as you like to cook,
That's right.
and you know what I mean,
That's
and
right.
you're making everything right. That might be enjoyable,
That's right.
but for me, it's in a different sense. Um, it is almost punishing, but that makes me feel good because it's work where I don't have to ever think about all the negativity going on around me because I'm too busy to think.
Mm-hmm.
You see
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So
Your
that's
focus is
therapeutic on
somewhere
my
else.
mind. I could spend 10 hours, 12 hours doing what I love, and you can punish me by ordering 20 items on my menu. Well, there's no disadvantage in that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already a hard worker. You're patronizing my business and you're buying a bunch of food, and the only thing I have to do is put my hard work to use and make money and go home and knowing that I earned it honestly.
Yep. Glad you said make money because being an entrepreneur
That's the best
is
problem to
making
have.
money. And something else you said I wanted to make a quick comment, and then I want to read a passage from here. We're saying that how some parents send their children to school to get a job. And I know as baby when we were growing up, that was one thing that our parents would say, you need to go to school so you can get you a good job. You need to go to college so you can get you a good job. So that was in my mindset, go to school so I could get a good job. And that's what I was doing. And I think now, though, it's more focused on telling our children, get the knowledge you need, get the skills that you need so that you can become an entrepreneur, have your own business, know how to use your finances, know how to invest, because it's a lot of investments, real estate, stock market. I've done real estate myself. I've delved into the stock market years ago. And I mean, it's important that we teach our children not to just go to school to get a job, particularly when you're Black. Because when you get on these jobs, you're going to find out as a Black person, and I've heard it and I've gone through it, racism is alive and well, and it's discriminatory, racially motivated discrimination is alive and well. And I can speak of it because I've gone through it in private industry as well as government. So we really need to do exactly. And that's why I would say read this book, because it helps you to understand exactly how you can become an entrepreneur, whether it's a chef like Chef Marcus is, or any other chosen field that you have your passion for and your gifts and talents. And you need to hone those skills. Not to say you don't need to go to college if that's what you want to do. However, keep in mind that if you go to college and you don't have these skills that you need, you might need something to fall back on when that boss decides to fire you and you have nothing to fall back on. So,
that is
so
so
it's
right.
important. I'm telling you from experience. Yes. So I wanted to read because the way you ended this book, I was so inspired by a couple of passages in here. And this is on page 106, where you said, I became confident that I could take you anywhere in the world if you couldn't afford to travel there, simply by catering to the palates of the people to experience cuisine destinations. I love that because you're world traveled and you talk about all of your travels in the book. So you have to get the book, everybody, so you can read about all of these challenges. But Marcus didn't let anything stand in his way or stop him. And the other one I wanted to read about, you said the restaurant may have been closed, but that didn't mean I was closed. And you also stated that earlier. And you said, I'm the product because I created the recipes. My passion, purpose, and faith led to my improved and innovative brick and mortar concept, Marco's Pepper Grill Restaurant and Catering. I am the aspiring chef. And that's at the end of the book. And I love that because that restaurant closed, but you didn't close, because now you have Marco's Pepper Grill. And I can't wait to come down and eat at Marco's Pepper Grill when I come down there in July. I'm looking because I see some of your food and they are so appealing. They look healthy. And I just can't wait to come down and see you and Dee. And somebody had put something in the chat. So while I'm looking at that, Barbara is in, and Barbara Smith. She's usually in here. She's been on the show also. Would you like to make a brief comment, Barbara? And then we're going to have some closing words from, because she's thanking you for the great and inspiring information. We'll have closing comments from you so we can close out, and because I know you got other things you want to do today.
Yes, thank you so very much. Chef Marcus, oh my God, this was intriguing, very inspiring. I missed a little bit of it. I couldn't get on time, but that's okay. It's going to be replayed, I'm sure. But I just want to share with you this book, what I have heard you say. I don't need to spend no money on nobody's personal development courses nowhere. And this is for the world. But I am going to get your book. And I thank you for being on the show, because this is a mind-blowing what you just shared with me. And then saying to Chef D, I just may end up, after reading this book, when you begin to franchise your pizza place. Oh my God, you both are really killing me with this information. But thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being on.
I'm telling you, this book just blew me away. I mean, I'm learning, and I like I said, I wanted to read more. So I thank you so much. And Ken, did you want to say something? Because I want to get some final words from Marcus. Tell the readers first before you give us some final words, Marcus. And again, everyone, I'm Louise Hicks, the host of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour, along with my special guest co-host, because Ken and I had a show in California out in Hollywood, Mother Son Show, Aim to Purpose Radio Show, and he's my special guest host today. And we are speaking with Chef Marcus Flakes, who is the author of this book, The Aspiring Chef, also a founder of Marco's Pepper Grill, and just an amazing person to speak with so much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He's given us so much. So Ken, did you want to say something? And then we're going to get some closing remarks, but tell us how to get your book, Marcus.
Sure. It can be accessed on lulu.com, LULU.com. And when you go there, just go to the search area and type in The Aspiring Chef. The book will come up in two formats. One is an ebook for $8.99, and then you can also buy it in print. I believe that's priced at about $17. But either way, you can get this book that way.
Okay. I put that in the chat. It's LULU.com.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So, and I didn't have to pay for mine. I got an autograph copy right here sent to me by Chef Marcus. So I thank you for this book, because I tell you, I'll probably read it again. Like I said, I didn't want to stop, and I love to read. So Ken, did you want to say anything? And we're going to get Marcus to close out. And thank you, Barbara, for those comments. And Barbara has been on the show before as well. She is prepaid legal services associate. Did I say that right, Barbara? Okay. So Ken, did you want to say anything else? And then we'll have some closing remarks from final thoughts from Chef Marcus.
Just real quick, just keep being the father that you are, keep being the chef that you are, keep being the man that you are, and congratulations to all your success, and just keep getting better.
Absolutely.
Just keep
thank you. I appreciate that, Ken. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's been a great show. And tell us how to get your food too, and give us some final closing thoughts, because you have really inspired everyone that's listening. You have been an inspiration today as we move into next week being Father's Day. And thank you and Ken both for being great fathers. We need more fathers out here, particularly for our younger Black boys and even men. We need those real models that can make great role models. Appreciate that. Yes.
Absolutely.
So some final thoughts from you.
Okay, so final thoughts is, well, first of all, I gave you the site where you can buy the book. If you want to learn more about my brand, you can go to marcospeppergrill.com, www.marcospeppergrill.com. If you're local in town, you can also access our mobile app, Marco's Pepper Grill. They have that on Android and iPhone. You can literally place an order when we're open, and you can place it for pickup or delivery. You can also find us on Uber Eats and things like that. That's if you're local. If you're not local, then hopefully you'll get the opportunity to visit Houston, and by all means, make us a cuisine destination in your travels. So because that's what I designed the concept to be, a place where you can come and come and get a different kind of experience. Some closing remarks on the book. Uh, it's been a pleasure sharing this book with everyone. I appreciate everyone that's taking the time to read some snippets out of it and getting some nuggets right out of it and things like that. I did write it not only for chefs, restaurateurs, entrepreneurs, and cooks, but for everybody. Because it doesn't talk about everything on cooking, but it talks about experiences that I had in terms of a memoir, what it took me to get to the next level, and then the next level, and the next level. I can honestly say this, and I'm not going to say this to brag, but I am going to say it because I am proud.
Yes.
I have been on several jobs. Okay. None of them paid me what I was truly worth. Okay. And I think that we can all agree with that. Even at the highest level of education, I was one step away from getting my doctorate degree, and talked to my mother, who is a good advisor. And she said, "Why would you be doing that?" And I said, "Well," she says, "please don't do it to become Dr. Flakes. You know, do it because this is something you're going to need moving forward." She says, "You're into entrepreneurship, and I just don't see how you're going to use that doctorate to, do what you want to do." I was like, you're right. It would be a waste of money. So, the learning from that is always have a motive as to why you're doing something. Don't go to school because we told you to go. Go to school because this right here is a process, a requirement to get into the next level. All of your decisions should be motive driven. I'm going to do this because this is going to happen. Not, I'm going to do this and I hope this happens. You don't want to think like that. So here are the mindset things that I've been, doing over the past 3 years, and it's been changing my income over and over and over. I have not seen less than six figures operating my business, even in the first year. I have not looked back at my full-time job. I have no desire to sit in that desk, okay, and look important, okay, and not be important. So in entrepreneurship, you can be important. But you do have to work. You have to work hard. It's going to require some sweat. It's going to require some long hours, things like that. But guess what? Why wouldn't you want to do that for yourself? For yourself. If you truly want a legacy, if you truly want a business, you have to first be the owner operator of it. First do that. And let it give you some worth, some worthwhile, so that you can share it with other people. And only then will people start to believe in you. They're not going to believe in anything you're doing that you're just starting, because everybody has done that. Everybody has started something. Okay, so it's not really intriguing to say, "Hey, I started a new business. Would you like to purchase my products?" Doesn't work that way. Trust me, guys. I've been there. It doesn't work. Okay, what works is your story. You have to have a story behind what it is you're doing. And at that point, people will start to follow. They'll start to say, "You know what? I want to keep an eye on this person, see what they're doing. I love their words," and things like that. And next, you have to be consistent. Consistency is key, 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 because you can do something today, let it last for 30 days, and then this person's going to come around and they're going to say, "Hey, what about that thing you were doing?" "Oh, I'm not in that business no more." Now you've lost credibility. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't quit what you truly did not have a passion for. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you're going to do it, don't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
True.
Okay,
Yeah.
go all in. Go all in, because all in is what's going to generate the results you're looking for. It's going to generate the revenue, the income, all of that. All of that is going to come your way. It's come my way, and I can only think that it can come other people's way. And it doesn't stop. You can't stop it from growing. Once you've put something out there that you've given your full energy to, It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Not unless you go somewhere. So I'm not saying all this to say I know everything, because my journey is not over. I'm just very happy to know that it's going to continue, and 2023 is going to be a record-breaking year. I have planted so many seeds already, and I talk about these. I talk about some of these things inside of my quotes, and also talk about it in video formats, where you can hear me talking and things like that. I'm all off into the authentic me, because I need to be able to share who I am, what I've done, and how I can help you do it. And so, that being said, I've developed a coaching and advising business, and it's called Food Truck Doctor. Okay, you may not own a food truck, but if you want coaching and advising in a different way, in terms of just having the endurance, the mindset of getting things done. Look, coaching, you need coaching. You need it. You need mentoring. You need it. Okay. We don't want to get to the point where we think we know everything, and then nothing gets done because you ran around thinking you knew everything. When I wrote this book, I had a dear friend who pushed me to write this book. Her name is Chandra Nicole Gore. If she's listening, she'll know what I'm talking about. But she's an amazing woman, and she has been a part of a lot of book clubs and things like that. She's all about writing, novels and motivational books and things like that about her life. And it wasn't easy, guys. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Hey, just write a book and publish it." No, it's not easy. Your thoughts have to be real. You really have to dig inside of yourself and pull it out. Sometimes you have to interview family members. You have to interview friends and things like that to get a perspective on what happened back then that caused me to be like this. So a whole lot of interviewing my mom, my uncles, and my father, and stuff like that. So that's the nuts and bolts of just writing a book. So if you're serious about doing something like that, make time, because you don't have time. And I'll end there.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. As an award-winning author myself, that my book was inspired by a true story too. My son having cancer at the age of 14. So everything you said, Marcus, is so true and inspiring, because we need to hear those words of wisdom, understanding from those who've been there, done that, and know what it's like to meet challenges and not let anything stop you. I always say, if there's a brick wall, you got to go through it to get where you need to go, to get these 5-star personality traits: trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, to get the results you want. Go on through that brick wall. Do what you got to do. And again, you can get Marcus's book at lulu.com, LULU.com. Ken has put it in the chat here on our Zoom page. And also, you can go to his website, Marcos, that's MARCOS, Pepper Grill, PEPPER Grill, GRILL.com. You can go there and learn more. And also, you have Facebook, right? Marcus, what's your Facebook?
Yeah. So they just plug in. I guess you can plug up two things. You can look up Marco's Pepper Grill on Facebook. It'll pop right up. And then you can search me as just Marcus Flakes. There's a few Marcus Flakes floating out there. So if you recognize me through this camera and the picture, then that's who I am. But it'll also say official profile. So, and you'll see Marco's Pepper Grill on the backdrop too.
So it's the real you.
Sounds good.
It's the real me. That's right.
And I thank you for being our special guest for Father's Day. This presentation, we're going to air it again on Father's Day, actually, because I'm not going to have a show on Father's Day.
Okay.
Again, everybody, I'm Louise Hicks of Aim to Purpose, a spiritual empowerment hour. And I thank my son and special guest co-host, Ken Wesley Mason. And Ken, you can share your business. Ken is going to be having his own podcast too coming up. You want to share that real quickly, Ken?
Kennetic-Fit and Wellness. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's Kennetic-Fit and Wellness Info. And the Kinetic Hour is coming soon. An open invitation to you and Chef D to come on as guests at some point. Because again, the discussion has to be made about health when it comes to our children. And so I'd love to have that conversation. So Kennetic-Fit and Wellness, again, the YouTube channel is Kennetic-Fit and Wellness Info. And yeah, check it out. It's a lot of information there on everything that is life.
And spell it out, Kinetic, because a lot of people may have the wrong spelling. So you're spell out Kinetic.
Oh, Kennetic-Fit and Wellness. It's like my name, Kennetic, Kinetic. Kennetic-Fit and Wellness.
Okay, sounds good. So at any rate, oh, Marcus, do you have a YouTube channel, by the way, so we can plug that in as well?
I also have an Instagram account, Marco's Pepper Grill. You can plug that in. YouTube, I rarely use that. Look forward to trying to get back to using it, but you'll find some cooking videos that I've made, straight from the house, things like that. But you can find that under Marco's Pepper Grill as well.
Oh, sounds good. You guys hear that? And I also have a YouTube channel. Please go to my channel. You'll find a lot of inspirational, motivational speeches and commentaries and interviews where Ken and I interviewed guests from all over the world. South Africa, Europe, America, of course, and Canada, you name it. We've interviewed guests from all over the world. Haven't been world traveled like Marcus, but hopefully one day. I've been a few places, but not world traveled with those taste buds that cause him to make all this great food. So again, my YouTube channel is AIMED, AIMED, the number 2, Aim to Purpose, PURPOSE, radio. Aim to Purpose Radio, the number 2. So please go to my channel and subscribe. And with that said, if nothing else, anyone else, do you have anything else to say, Marcos or Ken? Otherwise, we're going to close. And you guys know I close always with your power lies within you. Let it loose. Until next time. And again, happy Father's Day, everyone. And thank you so much, Marcus, for sharing all of that information. And again, everybody, go out and get this book. I tell you, you're going to love it. The Aspiring Chef, a memoir, Marcus Flakes. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Great show.
Happy Father's Day weekend.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.